What's up, everybody? We are here with Talia. This is Bridge the Gap. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and this is the show where we talk to interesting people such as yourself, and we learn about your life, extracting some knowledge nuggets along the way, and it just kind of flows into whatever it flows into as we do the experience. And it's super great to have you here. Honestly, you're one of those people I wanted to book actually a long time ago, and then foolish me, everyone, just so you know, I sent her a message on December 24th, which is not a good day to send a message, is what I
That was
learned.
my fault. I'm gonna take full responsibility for that. I opened the message. It was like Christmas time. There were like
I don't know
holiday
why I
party.
sent it. It was the
I
same.
might have forgot to answer him.
I forgot to follow up. It was all bad. It was then you look at it. I'm like, oh, say word, December 24th. I learned a lesson in that moment. Pick a better date that's not a holiday to reach out to someone. But
Yeah, I almost felt bad about it, but then when we reviewed the date, I was
yeah,
like,
nah,
I gotta.
free pass totally. But with that, it's cool to have you here now. A whole lot of times passed. I think I'm better at this at least. But to start this off right, I have a big old opening question I like to do. But before we do the opening question, can you just briefly introduce yourself? But most importantly, you need to tell us where you start your life.
Where I start my life,
Yeah.
like on a daily basis, like how I wake up in the
Nah,
morning.
like a
That's there.
geographical location of the past.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I started Montreal, born and raised. Unfortunately, I wish I wasn't born here, but you don't you don't pick these things, right?
You do not.
Um, so my name's Talia. I'm a singer, songwriter, rapper, producer, dancer. I wear a lot of hats, and I also co-host a podcast called the Hustle Podcast. So if you want to watch us interview some cool people like Holden Stephan Roy,
Yeah,
you can on there.
that's dope. I appreciate that you plugging that too. But now we're gonna get into it for real, real. The opening question's a little bit of a story, and when it lands, you can answer it. However, and it all kind of starts with my girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes one time, and she's got her phone out, and she's playing that Black Eyed Peas song that I got a feeling. Ooh, she's like vibing and she like dancing and she like doing her thing, and I look at her and I'm like, when the fuck did this song become chores music? Right? Because if you really think about this track, for us at least, it's like this chores environment today. But run it back 10 years, where our little "It's the Club Banger" of the era. It was like the highlight song. It was the biggest shit in the world. And then 10 years goes by on life, and the song kind of relegates itself into chores music because we all grew up and whatnot, which got me thinking a lot about life and the history of evolutions of things, and how all the shit you go out and party to, that shit's gonna be your future chores music if it's not already your chores music. But the most important part is that when we hear it, we start doing dishes to it immediately because that's all we hear it as. That's just kind of how it goes with life. And why I bring that up is because a musical experience is absolutely something that changes and evolves over time. And when you really listen to a lot of the interviews and you watch a lot of people talk about their journey as a musician, they all started at the same damn place, this adolescent phase, I discovered rap when I was 12 years old and I saw this, or I started writing my things like this and that. And I'm like, yeah, those are all important parts of the story, but they're definitely not the start of anyone's musical journey. And I promise you that, because you could probably run it back to the hospital you was born in, and you came out as a little baby, and somewhere in the room was a song being played, and that song was already being absorbed by you because it goes back that, I've had people tell me about prenatal music experiences, no fucking lie. So with that, I can remember being 5. My dad's got these gray boxes, like the fucking amplifier, the tape deck, the radios, all of that shit. The wires going out to the speakers and whatnot. Be busting Led Zeppelin tapes and shit in the daytimes. At the night times, it was MC Mario Club mixed straight from the clubs and all that in the middle of the night. My mom's be more on that discos and musicals and love music and Star 92.9s and shit like that. And it's just all these different vibes that kind of created my whole experience long before I had any control over what I was even allowed to listen to. It was just stuff that played around me that I remembered. So I was hoping you could run us back to the youngest Talia you can remember being in wherever you was at in Montreal, and kind of what it sounded like to be you with the technologies and experience. And keep in mind that for a lot of us, you mad young. And what you grew up with was wildly different than what we grew up with. And
Yeah.
we would love to hear more about that.
I mean, like, my journey really started like from as young as I can remember. Like, my dad was a DJ. My mom loved to sing. My grandfather like plays the guitar. My brother now plays the guitar. So we're very musically influenced in my family. So I was kind of born with it, I would say. It would start off with my mom playing Shania Twain in the car, you know. We're just jamming out with my brother in the back seat. Then it turned into like, oh my God, who's Hillary Duff? I love Hillary Duff. And then I had like a huge infatuation with her when I was really, really young. Um,
Well, were you watching all the Disney shows and shit?
oh,
Like,
hell yeah.
say a word.
Yeah. But I was also watching like Cartoon Network and everything. Like I was watching Dexter. I was watching Johnny Bravo. I was watching like I also have an older brother, right? So I would watch what he would watch too. So but yeah, it really started around there. Like my parents just were always musically inclined and it just came down to me, you know? So my dad would DJ a lot when he was my age. He was very known around Montreal as a DJ. So
What's your
yeah,
dad's DJ name?
I don't even fucking know. Like, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, of course. Of course. You can
I don't
swear
even
all you
fucking
want.
know. But yeah, I guess it was just DJ Tony. I don't know.
That's amazing. So when you start off and you little, you got already Hillary Duff rocking it, giving you that person a copy. You got your mom's giving you the Shania, which that was a vibe. That was a really big vibe for a minute. And you were already singing and whatnot from like a young age, is what I'm taking from that. Were you also like dancing and choreographing and doing a bunch of stuff?
Well, when I was young, my doctor pretty much told my mom like, yo, your kids are like hyperactive. Like they don't stop. Like you should put them on medication. And like God bless my mom for not doing that to us because I feel like it could have impacted my creativity today. But I was always hyperactive. I was always moving. I was always dancing. I was always making up songs that don't even make sense. Like I'd be making toast and be like, "Gonna put toast with the butter," and it didn't make sense. But I was freestyling as a child, so it was just how I am. I was just born like that.
That's wildly cool. I mean, the fact that I guess you had the huge influence, and I guess your parents would be encouraging you too, right? They ain't gonna be sitting there going, "That's why I stopped singing" or whatever.
No, my parents were very supportive. They put me in like competitions, like a singing competition, a dancing competition, which I actually came second place all across Canada
Say
for the
what?
free.
Hold on, what competition is that?
Oh my God, what was it called? I don't remember. I was like 14 and I don't remember what I had for supper yesterday. So I think it was called Showbiz Mondial or Showbiz Montreal. I don't remember exactly what it was, but if you do you know Adamo Simeone?
Nah.
No? You don't know Adamo?
Wait, yes, I do. Okay, you said
Yeah, yeah.
okay, I know the name from reading it. I don't think anyone said the name correctly. Cuz you said it
Adamo.
you said it with the Italianness of it all, like with the right emphases, and I would never have said. I would have been like Adamo Simeone or something like that, and like would
Adamo. Well, he's a singer from Montreal. If you don't
right,
know, he works at King's Court Productions,
right.
and he was actually in one of the competitions that I was in. He won the singing contest. He came in second place actually, and that's how I met him. So it's crazy to think that like this contest or this competition we did when we were younger, in the future we like ended up linking up, making music together, and like knowing all the same people. It's crazy how like small the world is.
Especially if you're English in Montrealish lands. That is a very
Yeah.
small world. So that's okay. So if I understand correctly, you're running through the young phases of your life. You basically got the musical family. You kind of already freestyling since time because you just into it. You got all kinds of people to emulate on TV. Yo, it must have been wild with that Hillary Duff era to be young because that was some heavily promoted shit.
I was infatuated with Lizzie McGuire, Hillary Duff. It was actually like the first concert I ever went to. My parents bought me Hillary Duff dolls. They bought me posters. Like I think I even had like a pillow. Like I was obsessed. Because as a little girl, when your imagination's running wild and you're seeing someone do what you love to do, you're like, wow, like I want to be that. Like that's what I want to do. So started young.
So you've always known you wanted to be like in music like this, then.
Yeah, always.
So like, at what point did you like start to like take it a little more seriously, or was it just you always took it seriously?
So my first song was written when I was 14, and I didn't have any like knowledge on like going to a studio recording or hearing myself, or I would just like film off my laptop here and there. But when I was 16, I had posted something on Facebook, and someone had hit me up and said, "Yo, you want to come record at my studio?" And I was like, "Shit, like I've never been to a studio, but this is exciting. Like I'm down." So I went to the studio, and we recorded a track. It was like a remix to Cult 45, I believe. And we had posted it because they were doing, it was Bless Rec Music. I don't know if you know of them or heard of them. But they were like an independent label, and they were releasing a song every Monday, and they were calling it Bless Monday.
Okay.
So I came there to record that song. They posted it out, and then they said, "Yo, keep coming back." And then all throughout the whole year, we were just releasing songs every Monday, every Monday, every Monday. And this is like an independent label with an independent artist working together, but nothing was signed. There was no contract. It was just buds making music, I would say.
So hold up, you're 16 and you're going and making weekly tracks with a bunch of folk. That's a
Yeah,
flex.
yeah, it was a huge flex. It was a perfect timing too, because it was like at a time where I was doing a lot of bad shit. Like I was really heading down the wrong path, and it was like this came in time for me to like shape myself back into perspective and like take control of my life and do something right or proper that makes me feel good.
Right.
Um, so we started making music all the time, and then when I just turned 18, they wanted to sign me, and I didn't like the terms to their contract. I didn't like what they were trying to tell me to do. They were like, because I had full independent rights to do what I want, so I could write my own music. Everything was on me. They were trying to tell me like you have to write about this and you have to look like this, and I was like young, naive, and still like very headstrong of who I am as an artist. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna sign with you. So then I took a 2 year break.
Hold on, hold on. So cause how many songs did you release with them? Like that's a lot. Like that's a 2 year phase of life.
We released quite a bit of music. Honestly, I don't even recall, to be honest with you. But there was a lot, and there was a lot of unreleased as well.
And is this still out there?
So no, it's not actually. So at the time, there wasn't Spotify and none of that. So what we were doing is we were just uploading our music to a YouTube channel. So every Monday we would upload a new track. And then when they decided to rebrand and become a different entity, they like put the whole channel on private. And like there's literally no way for me to go back and listen to the music unless I found it in like a message from Facebook, like from years back, and it was like a link he sent me that I could still play off Facebook, but I can't even download it, nothing.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
powerful like lesson too in terms of like making sure you have access to your own music, or at least steal your own music so you have an archive of it or something.
Yeah, but you know what? Honestly, like I don't think they were ever gonna do anything with it. And I've grown so much and I've changed my music style and technique so much from then that even just my voice alone like sounded so young. Whereas like when I hear it now, I'm like, oh my God, this was out. Like this was released and it wasn't terrible. It's just, artists were hard on ourselves, right? And I'm like, nah, I don't sound mature. I don't sound like me now. So I'm kind of glad it's gone and it's like no one could hear it anymore.
No, I appreciate that. On the other side of it is people love hearing that shit.
Yeah.
Like as a non you, I'm like, yo, straight up, I want to hear 16-year-old Talia's shit. It just sounds like fun to like, from
Well,
my perspective.
what I've done, because now I'm working with a new producer. His name's 808 Vibes. Shout out 808 Vibes if you're watching. Um, but he basically remakes a lot of the beats that I bring to him. So if I start writing something on YouTube from a YouTube beat, we'll go to the studio, he'll remake the beat so it sounds completely different and it's our own, you know, it's not just taken off YouTube. And when I met him for the first time, I told him like I have this goal where I want to take old songs of mine and remake them, recreate them. So songs like New Chick, that's an old song. I have one that I'm working on now. It's called Crazy. It's an old song. And actually New Beginnings, it's out as well. That's an old song from when I was working with them.
Okay.
And like revamped it and put it back out.
How did you meet 808 Beats? I'm pretty, or sorry, I don't know if I said that right.
808 Vibes.
808 Vibes, that's what it is. How did you?
So I was friends with another artist from the city, and he went to the studio one day, and he's like, "Yo, come with me." So I was like, "I bet, say less." You know, I'm always down to go to the studio, and we went there, and like we all hit it off, and been working with him ever since.
That's super cool. I'm pretty sure that's the dude that's working with Deuce God in them. Which I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
and I fucks with what he does. So I'm like, that's a cool name to drop. And I'm like, that's fucking dope.
yeah.
Um, so if I understand that right, so you were going through the situation with these first people. Were you like performing and stuff when you were doing that like, uh, earlier phase, your teenage rapping, singing phase?
Yeah, so actually, when I was working with Blessed Rec, like they had gotten this contact to open up for artists. Some gigs I wasn't able to go to because I was underage, but then there were some gigs that like completely like changed my life. So not changed my life, like I'm still what I'm doing today, but um, I mean like in that time when I was so young to get to say I was doing what I was doing changed my life. So we had gotten the chance to open up for Rich Homie Quan.
Okay.
Um, so when I was I was still 17 at the time, and I remember we were trying to sell tickets for this show because that's how it is, bro. You want to perform, you have to sell tickets. It's fucking bullshit, but it is what it is. So we had
That's
to sell
facts.
tickets, and I was still in high school, so I'm like telling these kids at my school, like, "Yo, I'm opening up for Rich Homie Quan. Like, buy some tickets off me." And they're all talking shit. They're like, "Nah, you're not doing that. You're lying. You're just trying to take our money." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, why would I want to take your money? Like, I'm trying to open up for a gig. Can you just fucking buy the tickets off me? So they didn't even end up buying the tickets off me. They bought them like independently on their own. And I remember the day of the show, there were these three kids that were talking mad shit, saying like, "Oh, she's such a liar, such a liar." And at school, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna see you tonight, huh? We're gonna see you tonight." And I was like, "Yeah, you will." So I remember I got on stage, and they were literally like in the front row of the stage. So I went right up to them and I tapped all of them on the head, and their face were like completely like thrown off guard that I was there.
That's amazing.
And I wasn't lying.
Yeah, that's still a crazy experience. Like to be honestly to be in high school and to open up for a rapper people are heard of is pretty wild.
Yeah. And thing about high school though is like no one wants to believe anything. Like they just think everyone's talking shit. So
I I definitely would be surprised if anyone from my high school was walking around talking about how they opened to rappers, but wildly like in retrospect, maybe it's like more plausible than I would have thought, and like how it all works. But still, it's like, yeah, I could see how people might be like you a little bit, and then were there, and I guess you killed it given the way you're telling this story.
yeah, it was fuck, I don't even remember, but I remember it just being a vibe. Like it was crazy. It was scary, obviously, because it was a huge crowd. But I was on stage with like other artists too, so it wasn't so bad. I got to perform a solo track. That was fun, but I don't really remember much of it.
And then, I guess, did you get to open up for anyone else that's dope?
Um, I feel like I did, but like I'm drawing blanks right now because there was a lot of shows that were being hosted at the Belmont, and I couldn't get in. But if I was of age, I would have been opening up for artists. I'm trying to think maybe Kasky, could it be? Or Cassidy, someone like that. Like I don't remember. But it was a long time ago, so I can't tell you. I don't recall.
Nah, no worries at all. I mean, it's just like not many of us were like teenagers connected to labels doing that stuff. So I guess it's just your experiences, and it's nifty to hear about them.
Yeah, they got lucky with that connect because I know like even over time now they still do shows like Oshiaga and they do shows like what's the other one? There's Mural Fest. So like they still have that connect and I see what they're up to, today. They're doing very well for themselves. Um, but that's a lucky connect to have. Those are hard to find.
Yes, they are. That is one thing I've learned over the last couple of years is connects are not they're well guarded secrets,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't like to talk.
Nope. No one wants to see you do better than them.
That yeah, I don't know. That's a real. It's more real than I want to admit. Like I would love to be like, no, that's not a thing. But then it's not even just okay. It's not even a Montreal thing, right? It's like pretty
All over.
much the whole world thing. It's
Yeah.
wildly weird that no matter what independent scene I've talked to people in, they kind of end up back at that same point. And it's like, how do you fix it? Like, that's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, what do we do about it? Everybody there, but what do we do about it?
I don't really think there's anything we could do about it. I think it's like a dog eats dog world. So it's like there's no resolution to it. It's just
It's what you got to do and run it.
get played or be played. Oh wait, no, get played or be played. Play or be played. I don't know.
I get what you're
Sound
trying
like
to say.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like technology changed the game, and the little your whole age group be doing some wildly different shit, which is gonna fuck up some gatekeepers of the past. When a lot of the because you guys don't party like we do, so like, yo, I hear people talk bars and shit, and I'm like, who goes to bars? Like, I thought they were all dying and shit. Like, I'm not really a bar attender, so I'm not the best person for the nightlife. But like, if I was trying to throw a show now, I feel like y'all do Airbnbs and cool shit way more than not. Like, that's what I hear.
I've been to like rooftop parties, hotel parties, Airbnb parties, bars. Been to clubs once or twice, but like most of the times it's at bars. We do it at they have like little stages for people to perform, but it's always like a hole in the wall. It's never like anything crazy. So like, I don't know what you're talking about. My generation, we're not getting high end gigs either.
Nah, I mean, like, so I'm fascinated by like the habits of the partier, more so than the perform. I feel like the whole performing scene is what it is. But like when I talk to people about what they do for fun, so few people like want to be there unless they have a reason to be there. Is my experience with it. Not so
That's
much like
how,
the artists. The artists are doing bars because the venues. It's like the world. It's like you have no choice except for maybe
mhm.
we do have choices that we don't know about. But like it feels like there's no choice. And so then I started thinking, like, why is there no 20-year-olds at any of these bars I'm ever at, like, ever? That was an epiphany I had. And so I asked young people, and they said the rich people like clubs and the young people like house parties. And I'm like, that's fucking wild. Or, like, I was like, I don't know what to do with that. That broke my whole fucking understanding of how to, like, deal with music moving forward.
It does make sense though. So
I mean, for you, for me, it's like everybody went to bars because there used to be $20 pitchers and they were fucking awesome. And now there's no $20 pitchers. So, like,
I mean, like I still, well, I can't go to bars anymore, but I still went to bars like a good portion of the time. So
I don't know. I mean,
it
everybody's
just
different.
like depends the clique, the crowd, who's going. Like there's different types of like people my age. There's the hipsters, there's the goths, there's the people like me where we're like up in the air, like we don't know what we categorize as, but there's different like genre of groups, if you understand, like groups of people. So some might like a bar, some might like an after hours, some might like the clubs. Really, just it's all over the place. It's like that, I guess, with every generation, honestly.
That's fair. But yo, I would argue that like you basically was going to bars for a minute for shows for a long time, and now it
Hmm.
feels like that. I don't know. It doesn't feel as viable to me. There has to be like an alternative to bars because I don't think it's gonna keep working the way it's been working.
I mean, like with everything going on in the world, like I don't think many people are going to be going anywhere for a while.
Yo, people like parks like you wouldn't believe. Everybody's in every fucking park all over. Like parks is the hottest shit in the world right now, is my experience. Not in the
Yeah,
winter, but like
perform live in parks and shit.
that's where all like the festivals, at least in NDG, ended up happening. A lot of shit goes down like that, but um, fair enough. So you took this break from music for a couple of years, right? Um,
Yeah.
After that situation with the label, I guess you didn't get signed. And then what made you decide to take a break?
So basically what had happened is like I fell into a relationship with someone and he was like completely like against the idea of me making music. And it's like looking back at it now, it's really stupid that I even let someone like take control of my life like that. But I was young, naive, and like in love. So for like the whole 2 years that I was with him, I was like very miserable. I felt like I was missing a part of me, you know? Like if I would sing in the car, he'd like blast the music not to hear me, or like he would really like put it down, you know? He did not want to hear nothing about it. And when we broke up, like the first thing that hit me was like, yo, get your ass in a studio. Like, let's go get back on your shit. Because like we would break up here and there within the 2 years, but like I would always be like, my mindset's back on him, back on him. And then one day, just like I snapped out of it and I was like, no, like focus on your music, focus on you. Like, why are you gonna put what you love to do to waste or put it on the back burner for someone? So then I just like got into it hardcore and it's been about like 3 years since and I'm loving it. I'm meeting so many people and I'm making so much music and I'm hosting a fucking podcast now. So it's dope. It was really a useless 2 years, a waste, but you know, not everything's a waste. You learn from it, you grow from it, and you get better from it.
That's true. So when you get back into it, like, how do you actually, do you already have studios and shit lined up now that you're on your own with it?
So honestly, it was so fucking hard to get back into it. I didn't know where to start. Like I felt like a fish out of water trying to get back in and like not know what to do. So first step was I hit up an old producer I knew through them, and he was like down to take me in. So I went and recorded writing solo and alone time, and I was like, the first step is put music out. I didn't know how DistroKid worked. I didn't know anything Spotify, how to get my music out. So he had like really helped me, like explaining how the process of like putting out the music, you get a UPC code for your music and all this crap. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. So I started putting out music. And then as I started promoting myself on Instagram, I had hit up a graphic designer. I'm like, yo, make me a banner or come do a photo shoot. So that's what we would do. So we did a photo shoot, um, cheap music video in a parking garage. Till this day, it's still on YouTube. I thought it was fucking hilarious. It was really stupid, but it's still there.
Honestly, it's a
Um,
good video.
you've seen Alone Time?
I mean, I was watching it just before, and I like, because, I mean, you had like a bunch of shit on your YouTube, so I'm like, let's watch it. And,
Stupid video. It costed me like $150. I like hit up the guy. I was like, yo, like, can we shoot a video tomorrow? He's like, yeah, where are we gonna do it? I'm like, I don't fucking know. He's like, I know a parking garage. It's like, cool. And I just grabbed a bunch of random shit. I brought my big Yoda. I brought a fucking inflatable fucking unicorn. None of it made sense. The aesthetic is like, it's hard to understand, but it was just so funny that I was like, fuck it, I'm putting it out just the same.
I thought it was a cool video. It was better than all the Airbnb car videos.
Yeah, that's
Like, it showed personality. On ultimate, I guess if it's like, like, that's the most important part, I think, is it like, that felt very you. Like, all of your outfit choices, it just felt like, oh, that's what Talia is like. So you
like
accomplished that goal
they
pretty fucking well.
till this day, like that video is so fucking stupid, but like I was genuinely having the time of my life when I recorded that video. And like the energy that radiates off that video when I watch it, it's like it's just like a throwback of the good time I had filming it. So yeah, it's a little stupid. My personality does shine in it, but I hate but love the video. It's like a bittersweet end result.
Yo, I love the fact that you just pulled it off of what you had and just did it. That's amazing.
I mean, like, I didn't know where to start with my music, and I was just like, I'm on my own. What do I do? I need a music video, right? I never had a music. That was my first ever music video. So I was like, let's shoot a music video. I don't know anything about backstories or concepts or like mood boards. So I was like, fuck it, let's put it all together and go from there.
I've
From
never in
there,
my life fucking done a mood board. A mood board. I don't even
yeah.
know exactly what that is. I'm gonna have to actually Google that shit later.
A mood board is basically like you just put a bunch of pictures of like a vibe or concept you want to like come together. So like I had made a mood board for like my song Harley Quinn, where I put like a black dress and like a medieval mansion, or like you set a tone for what you want to be delivered in the video. So when you give this to like a DOP, they know what to look out for.
Yo, what is a DOP?
A director of photography. So basically they like set up the video and like get everything together.
Yeah, that's fair. I've never gone down the path of doing music videos in the way you're supposed to do music videos because I was like, I got a cell phone. Let's run it. And trust, they're not amazing music videos, but yo, that's nifty. So you got to create a mood board to give to a director of photography if you want your shit to look nice.
You don't have to, but like it helps. And it depends like the company, right? So if it's some you're like one of your cousins who films videos, you're not gonna make a full mood board and like be like, hey, this is what I want. What you're gonna do is be like, yo, we're meeting up here at the Airbnb with like 15 dudes in the parking garage and we're gonna shoot a video. So like that's where you see the difference between someone who's just putting something out to put something out and someone who's putting a lot of thought and creativity behind it.
Nah, I hear you. I didn't, but even then, it's like you're saying then that if you're gonna work with really dealio types, a mood board is like a thing they're gonna ask you for that you need to know what it is. The way like concert people be like, send me a press kit, motherfucker, and you'd be like, what's a press
Exactly.
kit? And you'd be like, okay, say word. I don't know. And then you like have to run through and reverse engineer all these things you're like supposed to have on deck when you deal with the big league people.
Yeah, exactly. Like they want to have an idea of what's going on in your head. Like what do you envision? What are you thinking? Because saying it and showing it is two different things, right? So I could be like, yeah, I want a black dress. Okay, do you want a tight black dress? Do you want a puffy black dress? What do you want? Show me, make a mood board, and then from there, it makes everyone's job easier because everyone has a clear understanding of how you want it to go.
Say a word. That's super big time useful. I don't think a lot of people I talk to try as hard as music videos as you do. But to be fair, you had like all kinds of like real music video shit going on with your music videos. At least the one of them with the cake and the shit. I was like, that is like
Oh
a
my God,
fucking
that
like. Honestly, it's one of the biggest production music videos, at least from effect, I think I've seen from people I've met locally.
really? Oh my God, if I could tell you the story behind that video.
You absolutely can.
So my boy that works with Astrid Collective, shout out DJ, he's a videographer and he was like, I want to shoot you a music video. We need to get something done. This is my price. I'm like, yo, this is fucking cheap. I'm like, where the fuck? I don't have time to like set up a location to film at. I don't have the budget for it either. So I was like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna sit and we're gonna think this out. So I sat alone in my room for like 2 weeks. Well, not like 2 weeks straight there, but like I sat and thought on it for 2 weeks, and I was like, what does this song tell me? What does this song tell me? And I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm like trying to Copperfield, David Copperfield, something like that. And I was like, yo, magic, magic. Where can you find magic? At a circus. I'm like, okay, so now how am I gonna build a circus? Where am I gonna get a tent? I was like, okay. So I went to the dollar store and I picked up red tablecloths and white tablecloths, the plastic ones.
Holy shit, this is helpful. Keep going.
Bro, I like literally picked them up, I cut them into strips, and I like emptied out my bedroom and I pinned them to the wall with little fucking, what are they called? The little pins, thumbtacks. I pinned them to my wall with thumbtacks. I put a coat hanger and stuck it to my ceiling and then hooked all the pieces of the tent to my coat hanger. And I turned my room into a circus.
That's in your
And
room.
it was in my apartment. The whole video was shot in my apartment. I was like, I don't have budget to like go to a circus. I don't have the budget to like rent out a studio. I'm like, but I do have my own place. I have space. So I I bought all the props. I set up everything, got the costumes, organized it, got the cake sponsored. Both cakes were sponsored to me because I like hit someone up and said, yo, this is gonna be a sick production. I like literally like just fucking went in, directed the whole thing, set up the whole thing, and then just told my boy, like, yo, show up at this time, everything's ready. And that's literally what happened. And we just filmed the whole thing in my apartment.
Yeah, say a word. Honestly, I'm gonna use this as an example in the future of like a story where people who may not feel they can achieve things can probably do a lot more than they think they can. Cause holy shit, I
Yeah.
know it's gonna sound wild, but I never thought of buying Dollarama props to convert my apartment into a set before. I find the older I get, the fucking bougier I get in the worst possible ways, and it's super hard to think like that. That's
Like
wild.
in total, that whole video with like costumes, props, and the camera guy cost me $500.
And that's a wickedly really cool looking video, all things considered. Like it looks like some fucking pop star shit that's like actually got label back. I thought a label was behind that. No fucking lie.
It was all this.
Well, I
It
mean,
was quick. It was a lot of thought behind it. Like I was stressing so hard. What can I do for this video? And like I just kept listening to the song on repeat so much I almost threw up. But like I finally had a concept in my mind. I was dead set on making it work, and it came together. And people till this day they're always like, "Yo, that video's crazy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I did that."
yeah, but you did that and you spent no money. That's wild.
I spent money, but
Well,
I
like
didn't spend.
relative money for like
Uh,
the way that video looks. It looks like you spent 5 racks. You know,
yeah,
like just to get the studio space and shit. You know, like it doesn't. It looks like the Hustle podcast studio space was used to fucking film the video more than not.
no,
Like
it's
one of
all in
those locations. So it's wild to me.
and what helped too is like when the videographer came, I had told him like what I want the scenes to look like. So I was like, we're starting off here. You're gonna pan from me to the cake, and then we're gonna do like a little this, and like I directed the whole thing from top to bottom, and like he was so cool to work with too because he was like giving his input, and I love it when people give input. Like, don't be quiet around me. Like, tell me what the fuck's going on in your head, and we like everything just blended well together. And I recall like a week after we filmed, he's like, yo, come, we're gonna edit the video. And like I just watched the first bounce of it and I was like, yo, this is fucking crazy. Like, what the fuck? And I was very proud of that. I'm still proud of that.
Nah, it's really a cool video and all of it. It's also a good story. You know, not everything in life turns into a good story after too. Um,
Yeah. That's the life of an independent artist, right? Like you have to really like think outside the box. You can't have people think for you because you don't have anyone behind you to help you think, right? So sometimes just secluding yourself for 2 weeks in your own head, that that magic moment will come up and you write it down and you set it all up.
Honestly, I talked to a lot of independent artists. There's a lot of varying degrees of autonomy in this, so I'm duly impressed that you pulled that off the way you did. Everything about that's remarkable. That is a remarkably cool like that's like a blog article that would go
Yeah.
viral because of how like ridiculous. And I'm not being hyperbolic on that. The sentiment of it, like how to make a bless ass video on $500 with Talia, like like that's some real like not as common as you'd think shit. It's like that Sum 41 video they made with action figures that cost them no money. It was like fucking a huge deal because they didn't spend money. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not like some cheap shit. Like I mean, in the sense of like the look and feel, like it's got outfits and all kinds of shit going on.
Yeah. Like the costumes were really cheap too. Like they looked like I had to like find a way to make my clothes work with the costume, and then I had to go to like Village de Valar to buy the guy a shirt, and like I really like wanted to pinch my pennies. And like it worked out. It was fun. But for other artists that might be watching this, like if you want to do something and you're dead set on doing it, like where there's a will, there's a fucking way. Like 100% where there's a will, there's a way. Just fucking think about it. Use your resources, arts and crafts. You're a creative person. Like make shit happen for you. You can't sit back and let shit happen and wait for it to happen. You have to do it. So fucking do it.
That's the truth of it. We are also like super fucking active on social media, or at least the talk. You're like one of those people that did not run away from TikTok, is what I've seen.
I'm trying. Our platforms are a tool, right? They're a resource. So it's like you have to stay relevant. You have to stay in the limelight. People need to hear what you're up to. People need to know what's there. People are nosy, right? People just want to know what everyone else is up to. And like if you're the type of artist that like post once in a blue moon, like they don't care. Like they'll look at it, but like they won't keep up with it or they won't talk to their friends about it. They won't be like, hey, did you see Gabby posted something? Why did I say Gabby? Whatever. Did you see they posted something and this is what happened? And you're like, okay, yeah, cool. And then that's it. But then if you are constant with it and you're constantly like posting on the daily, people would be like, oh, did you hear Talia was saying this? And this is what happened. Yeah, but I don't think she meant it like that. Yeah, I think she meant it like that. Let's watch her other videos to go see what she was talking about. Like, and every day you're resurfacing. So you're someone that you're going to be continuously spoken about whether it's good or bad, is publicity. So you want to give people something to keep up with and look at. And it helps because I'm a lonely person, so I like talking to my phone.
No, that makes sense. But still, like it's you speak out on a lot of things. Like you definitely take on the influencer role a lot more seriously than a lot of other people do. I only say that because you showed up on my fucking socials a while ago, and I'm like, she's really good at this. And so I started watching it, and then you'd go live, and then you'd rant about this and that, and take stances, and post dance videos, and lip syncing your. I didn't know you could lip. I know it's another dumb shit. I didn't think about lip syncing to my own shit until I saw you do it, and I'm like, oh wow, say word. That's something. That
Honestly, when I started doing that, I was like, yo, is this like a little corny? Like, should I not do this? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, they have to hear me somehow and just put a visual with it. And then I would just use my phone, record myself next to a microphone playing my own song, and then use a video editing app to put the song over it and blend it and mash it up properly so the vocals like match the voice, the lips. And yeah, then it's just an idea, right? You have to do something to stand out. If you're just posting a picture here or a video there, like whatever. But if you're constant with it, keep doing it, it gets recognition.
yeah, it definitely has people remember it more. What are some of the things you think have worked the best for you?
Um, truthfully, TikTok. TikTok is like a hit or miss. I can have some videos with like 2K views or like 32K views or like 100K views. It's really hit or miss. So TikTok does play a big role. I know one thing that really worked for me for a while is I was posting every day on my grid on Instagram. So using the proper hashtags and just posting every day, I was getting like it started off with like 1 follower a day. Then after a week, it'd be like, oh, 3 followers a day. And then after 2 weeks, it'd be like 5 followers a day. So like the algorithm picks up on you being constant. So like there's so much more to just posting something because there's algorithms and marketing behind it. So you have to figure out the algorithms to really make yourself set off and stand out because you won't be posted on the featured page if you're not constant or relevant. So like TikTok, for example, you have to post 3 times a day and go live after every time you post. And
You have to go
for some reason,
live after you post.
yeah, that's how the algorithm works on TikTok. It's stupid, but
That's
it
why these
works.
people be live all the time.
Exactly. It's how the algorithm works. So you would post like 3 in a row and then go live. You don't have to post, go live, post, go live, post. Like you post 3 videos in a row, go live, stay on live for like an hour, get off, close your phone, don't look at it, and then chances are it's gonna blow up. With Instagram's algorithm is you have to stay constantly posting, post every day. So it recognizes your content. And that could take up to like 2-3 weeks for it to really catch on to your content, and the algorithm will pick up on it.
So yo, let's say you have a lot of random shit. Do you want to clear your Instagram and make it like fresh so it can figure out what you is?
You wanna pick a niche first, right? So I'm an artist, so I put music is my niche, and my Instagram in my bio it says artist, my name, what I do, what's coming out for me, and a link to my music. It's very clean, very easy for people to understand, and then post nice looking grids. So either you're doing the three in a row or you're posting randomly here. You want them all to look very similar. So let's say you're using your favorite color is red. You want to use a little pop of red in each post so it complements each other. So visually, it has to look um like attractive to people. Because if it's not attractive to people, they're just gonna go on your page and be like, "Ah, it's just a regular dude." Next, it has to look. Visuals are so important. People are so like dead set on visuals, and what's also important too is like people are fucking lazy, right? They won't sit through a whole video. If within 5 seconds you don't have their attention, you didn't catch it, they're skipping through your video. So you really want to be not only focusing on your image, your look, your branding, and your constant mutual looking posts. You want to be attractive to your audience within the first 5 seconds. So you could start off a video with like, I just peed myself. And everyone's gonna be like, okay, now I need to know what the fuck's gonna go on. Like, what's he gonna say next? But if you're just like, hey guys, I wrote a song and this is how it goes. They don't care. They're just gonna skip through it. So you have to really like come in hard for the first 5 seconds to really grasp the audience attention, and then go with it. This is like so much more to this.
Yeah, it's wildly interesting. Honestly, I mean, I'm wildly interested. I know this is the shit where artists be like, yo, taking notes and crap because the number of people that be like, okay, you need to have red in all of your picture. I'm like, say fucking word. I did not know any of that red in all my Like, I know what you're saying. I mean, I picture the grid as you're saying, like, your Instagram homepage, like when they click on your thing, has to
portfolio,
look
right?
litty.
It's
And
like a portfolio. So like it's the first thing people see when they see your page. They're like, okay,
but
this is
now you have to
attractive.
post in a way where as the things move, it still looks good.
A lot of the times, like it won't. But when you're posting every day, it doesn't matter. It catches up fast, right?
Right. Fair enough. Every couple of days it'll be like off kilter, but then it's wild to think that like you end up having like a day of this thing, a day of that thing, a day of that thing, so it just like lines up perfectly.
But that's why you want to use like posts that are very similar. So like if you always use a hint of red in post, even if the grid is off, it'll always match each other.
Right. Fair enough. Um, do you go live a lot on Instagram?
I used to go live a lot during like the lockdown and the curfew. I was always going live. So there's this influencer from Montreal. His name's Mike Lucci. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he's pretty known in the Italian community. He's from like RDP, the East End, and he gets at least like 1,000 to 2,000 people joining his lives on like a Friday night. And this was during like the curfew and all that stuff. So I was always on his lives. I've gained a lot of traction through him. A lot of people followed me through him. Um, and but he was on every Friday, so I was on every Friday. Or like a Saturday, I would go on my own, or like I used to be on live a lot, but then like not as much. If I'm at the studio, I'll go live, but not like on my daily every day. I'm not gonna just like be in the car. Hey guys, so I'm on my lunch break.
No, I hear you. I mean, that's a. Do people do that? Do people go live on their lunch breaks? I've just
Yeah,
never
people will
seen
go
that
live for
before.
anything. Yeah, yeah.
I don't. Okay, I mean, I have some people who go live, but they're always like artists, and they're usually not my favorite stream, so I just don't click on them. So I guess I don't know. That just surprises me, but I guess it makes sense at the same time. Um, Yo, at some point you started producing and engineering and stuff, right? What
Yeah.
made you like get into that world?
So I started working with a producer, and I would watch him use Logic, and I was like, yo, this is like the easiest thing to catch on to, like, figure out. Like, it's so easy. Like, what the hell? You just drag it in, or you just hit the keys or whatever. And he was like really cool. He gave me Logic, and then I started dabbling with it. And he even sent me like some plugins like Arcade, uh, what else, like Splice, and like a bunch of stuff. Um, and then I just started dabbling in with it. So that's how I even produced Lies, like the video where I directed it. I even produced that beat.
That's cool. So you basically just said I can do this and started doing it. I know at one point you lost your voice and you were going live and asking people to send you music and shit. And I'm like, that is such a productive use of time.
Yeah, I had lost my voice. I had caught like something, and I couldn't speak. So I was like in bed, I was resting, and I was just like, yo, I think I wanted to start doing something like on Twitch or like a live stream where I just like listen to people's musics and like I critique it. But then like it didn't fall through because I got better, and I was like, okay, back to my regular programming, folks. But I was like listening to a lot of the people sending in their music, and I was like, oh, this is not bad. This is needs a little work, but I enjoyed like hearing what people are working on.
No, it's really cool. So like with regards to your own stuff, do you have any like albums or anything coming?
So for the whole year of 2021, my plan was release a song every month, and I've been doing really good with that up until now. But while I'm releasing a song every month, I'm creating songs every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, I have like at least 2 to 3 new songs in my vault. So I'm literally posting out the songs that I'm like, they're okay, but they're not like banger material. So everything that's been coming out is like, it's good, but it's not my best. And I'm working in secret on this album, on a album to come out possibly next year, the year after, with all the songs that didn't make it within the drops of 2021.
Which are so the drops are the worst songs. So it's like a compliment to the song to not be in the drops, but the ones that don't make the drops make the album.
Exactly. So basically, like, I'm building my catalog on Spotify, Apple Music. I'm building my catalog. I'm giving people something to listen to every month. So I stay relevant and I stay like, oh, look, she posted another song. What is it today? Like, you know? And while I'm building my catalog and I'm giving people something to listen to, I'm working on this album with like, it's already like we already have like a good 4 to 5 songs, and like they're freaking mental, and like I get so excited that I want to release them, but I'm like, no, you can't do it. You can't release them individually. They have to come out all together so people could be like, shit, this is an album, you know?
No, I think it's cool that you have it like that. Do you find that the releasing tracks monthly to all the platforms has been helpful?
I mean, I don't have a lot of monthly listeners. The only thing I would say that I'm benefiting from it is like I'm gaining what, an extra $2 every month on my like in my DistroKid bank. So I'm making a bit more money off my music now than I was before. But besides that, like it's really just helping me grow my catalog and letting people hear what I'm working on and what I'm doing. But I'm not gaining much from it. I'm also like rediscovering my sound as I'm doing it, because I've always been like very diverse. So I can have like something just full bars, or I can have something like singing, rapping, or I can do like reggae, and then I can do pop, and then I can do hip hop, and it's like it's hard to figure out my exact niche in the music industry because I don't know what my exact niche is. I'm a songwriter before anything. So writing music doesn't have to be one genre or one category. So I could write music for a reggae artist, but I could also write music for a pop artist. And then I'm fortunate enough that I can find my sound working with each of these genres. So I struggle a little figuring out my niche, but releasing these music like this music every month, it's helping me figure out my niche.
That's an interesting way to put it. Um, I guess you've. I don't hear a lot of people talk about looking for their niche within music. Almost like people want to be the best at things, or people want to do that. But to like try to like isolate it on a specific market and just triple the fuck down on that does not sound like everybody's goals. What led you to like that kind of thinking?
I mean, honestly, I just like love music. So whatever sound I hear that I could write to or I get a vibe off of, I'm gonna write to it. And it wasn't really a strategy kind of thing of like, oh, I should just focus on one niche or I should focus on all of them. It was just literally how my brain flow works when I hear beats. So it was never strategic. It was just who I am.
Right. Who are some of the people that influence you the most?
Like artists,
Yeah.
I really, really like love Lauren Hill. She was like she's singer, rapper, songwriter, like goals. There's J. Cole, he's super dope. Like I love when he like doubles up on his words. Like he'll be like, oh fucking no, I can't think of something right now. But like he doubles up on his words, and I know he does that because I do it sometimes because he does that. Um, who else do I like? I like Ariana Grande. She's a huge influence. Like her vocal range is crazy. But if I'm throwing it back to when I was a kid and what influenced me would be like JoJo, Christina Aguilera, um, Whitney Houston, like yeah, like older artists too, younger artists. Like I'm all over the place, man. I'm all over the place.
Nah, it's totally dope. So as this goes on for you, like, how do you see the next year playing out for you? Do you have like a lot of live shows that you're gonna be focusing on? You're gonna be focusing more on the internet version of this.
So like with COVID and the mandates, it's a little hard to set up live shows. I do want to expand myself, and by expand myself, I mean like move and go somewhere completely different, start fresh. So I do see myself going to Atlanta and working out there and meeting people out there, marketing out there. Because I love Montreal, but like it's hard to blow up here. It's hard to be recognized or get recognition because people don't want to see someone like no one wants to see someone they know do good. It's fucked up. But I feel like if I change city, got a new like vibe, inspiration, energy, I'll start creating even doper music and meet some doper artists, and Lord knows where that's going to take me. And I feel like one of the biggest things you have to do as an artist is leave your hometown.
At the very least, travel somewhere else and see something else.
Exactly. So I see myself within the next year like dipping, bouncing from Montreal.
Have you otherwise traveled before?
No. I've been to Toronto. I went a few weeks ago for the first time, and it was such a great experience. I actually met the people through the podcast, and they're artists from Toronto, and they're like, "Yo, come down. I'm gonna bring you to my studio." So we went down, went to the studio, shot a music video. Like I got to like live a full experience of being an artist here, but out there. And honestly, just the feeling of being in a new environment, a new city, a new it's so inspiring, and it gave me such a rush of happiness. So I can't wait to leave again because that little bit of that one little weekend that I was there, like I was so happy and so in my element.
No, I totally appreciate that. Um, yeah, I guess a lot of people don't really leave here, like ever. And I don't even, I mean, even travel, like, and like beyond, like, even Toronto. You know, first time I went to Toronto, I was like, what, in my 30s, maybe 29. Like, it's wild how little we, like, fucking go anywhere as artists.
Yeah, it's not good. It's like you need to expand yourself. You need to grow. You need to go places. You need to travel. It's so important.
Outside of Atlanta, where else would you want to visit?
I want to definitely hit up LA, New York, Um, this is all music wise. If I had to go like for leisure, it'd be like Italy, Bora Bora. Um, but yeah, definitely want to hit up New York and LA.
Outside of music, do you have like other aspirations and shit? Because you did move into the podcasting sphere, which is like a whole. I mean, it's talking, but it's still like like a whole different world.
Um, I really like being a host on the Hustle, and it was never like a big aspiration. I wasn't like, hey, I want to be a talk show host or like a podcast host. But when the opportunity arose, I was like, yeah, this is different. Like, I could do that. I could host a podcast. I wouldn't mind doing it. And then I did it and I had fun with it and I loved doing it. It wasn't like a an aspiration though. It was just like a moment in time where I was like, fuck yeah, I could do this. In my everyday life, I don't really have many different like my whole life is music, honestly. Like just runs deep in my bloodstream. Like there's nothing else I want to do. If I could just get paid to like make music, write music, and sell it to people, I would do it like with a heartbeat, in a heartbeat.
Right. I like how like fucking focused you are on this. I appreciate that a lot. So when it comes down to like, I guess migrating through the next little era, I imagine it's really just gonna be like take advantage of what opportunities appear. As I understand Quebec law, you can get hired without vaccinations to be a performer. You just can't go to the show.
I think so.
Because I was not required to be vaccinated to do some shit in a park the other day, but they had it in the email like, but if you're finished performing, get the fuck out.
Oh shit.
It was like dead ass, like, well, not that rude, but like it was dead ass because there's some weird not weird, but there's like an employer law where they're not legally allowed to force you to get vaccinated. And that's baked into the performer contracts at shit because now you're an employee independently of whatever thing, so they can't ask you or some shit. I don't know how like hard that's gonna hold up or for how long, but that was the shit that went on when that one time I dealt with it. So I was like, that's a wild thing. But couldn't you like go the private route, like just low key it?
Possibly. Um, there's always risks with doing shit low key, right? Just the risk of getting caught and fined, and it's not worth the headache.
Mm,
I'm not I don't like having to like overthink something or be paranoid about something. Like I'm not gonna enjoy myself if I'm paranoid about it, you know?
right. So you're just kind of gonna ride the wave and see how it plays out.
Ride the fourth wave, apparently.
Yeah, I stopped paying attention to the news for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just happening, and I don't have to go anywhere, and it doesn't affect me all that much. I mean, it affects me because there's some weird shit here and there. Like I got carted to get eggs, and that was like a weird experience. Not like
What?
well, it was. I went to omelet place, and then they like effectively card you because you need ID, right? Like it's not just the
Hmm.
passport. You have to get carded to get like eggs, and I thought that was the strangest experience. Like I just it was like this like it was really weird, and
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. I do not want to live like that, to be honest with you.
yeah, no, I'm not. It's not a thrilling time. The whole live scene is weird. Like I saw somebody throwing some shit. 45 people max capacity. I'm like, shit. I don't want to throw a show. Like I don't want to go throw a show with 45 people.
Like that's it. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. Um, no disrespect to the people that want to do it. It just feels weird. Would you do the digital shit?
Fuck yeah, I do the digital shit. But I feel like people don't want to like watch that.
I don't know if that's 100% true. I know at least one dude willing to spend money to watch fucking live streams of pop stars, and people be like,
But like pop stars, but like local talent, people don't want to watch that.
I threw a show over Facebook in 2017 because I was like, fuck that, I can't afford to throw a show, so I'm gonna do it like this for my first project that dropped, and my CEO watched it. So yeah, there's a market. It just might not be what people think it is. I don't know. Like, the only time in my life that man ever watched me perform live was on that digital shit I threw. So it got me thinking that maybe there are, because there's the antisocial crowd. My whole Twitch thing is here because, like, honestly, there is a group of people that like show up and watch people freestyle on my Twitch every Tuesday. It's not a crazy number, but with, like, better marketing and branding, etc., like, there is a market. Plus it's mad
Mm-hmm.
or like the Iowa people. I'm sure there's a bunch of people, and I pick Iowa because it just feels like the middle of nowhere to me. Like, the Iowa people have got to be down to watch some Montreal people do some shit, in a
Yeah,
sense.
for
It's
sure.
like going international without leaving.
Yeah, I feel that. You just have to find the right crowd for that. It's hard to build up from like scratch though online.
Yep. that is a big fact. Yeah, honestly, it really comes down to a collaborative effort wins, and it's super hard to form the collaborative efforts on that, what you were describing earlier, phenomenon. And it really just kind of comes down to that. It's like, on the internet, people who squad up win. That's what YouTubers taught me. All the big YouTubers have teams, like the vlog squad, and there's always like
Mm-hmm.
a, even like PewDiePie like was connected to a lot of people's and shit. Like it's never just been like a they ride solo game, and that's just it. And it's probably like that in music. I mean, it is like that in music. That's what a label is.
You do need a team behind you. You need a solid team behind you. It's like teamwork makes the dream work, right? So
But even like within a team, you need a community to be a part of. That's where I think like it gets really weird. It's like, for me, I'm really focused on the community element of it all. Like, a team's cool, but like you can't even find your team if there's no community. And I feel like a
yeah.
lot of people haven't even, like, I don't know. I'm trying to build shit in the parks and whatnot and doing what I'm out there trying to do, but like that's what would you do to foster community?
Um,
Like, what, not necessarily like in like your perfect world. Like, if you could have it your way.
I think like what I would do is host a fundraiser, get everyone to come out, get some like barbecue going, and people could donate as they please, and it goes to a charity, and people get to perform at the charity. It's not only you're doing a good thing, but you're getting people's names out there, and most of the times like a charity you can get everything sponsored to you. You get like food sponsored, you can get, so it's like you're bringing the community together. People could bring their kids, people could eat, people could have a good time, there's good music playing, you get to network market. It's like a fun little fundraiser, and people could even sell their merch, and then when they sell their merch, a portion of the profits go to the fundraiser. So that's how I would do it.
Yeah, that's a wildly, really realistic idea. Like,
Yeah.
really realistic from like all the elements of it. Make a Wish fucks with rappers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I learned. Um, that's cool. Um, how would you do it digitally? Like, how would you leverage social media to foster community?
Um, with social media though, it's like there always has to be something for them to get out of it. People need to gain something from everything. So, I mean, on social media, I would host like if it's going back to like how I'm gonna get people to come out to this fundraiser. Is this what you're like saying? Or like how I'm gonna like build up a team, or what are you asking exactly?
Community.
Get people
I'm
to come?
fascinated by community elements and your ideas on that, but all of it really, however it goes.
I mean, like I would still like if I'm working off the idea with the fundraiser, I would put like a giveaway or something like a contest to go with it. So like come out to the fundraiser, blah 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 blah. If you buy this tickets, it'll go into a draw, a raffle. You could win this. Give incentives. People don't do nothing unless they're getting something out of it. So if you give them the chance to win something, or get free food, they're gonna come. So you have to give them an incentive. It's fucked up, but people are like that.
It is what it is. Everything has to. You're competing with like everything, especially in a place like Montreal, where beyond the independent artistry, you're competing with the city of Montreal's tourism efforts, which are like a
Exactly.
real threat to independent art for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, who are some of your favorite artists in Montreal?
Right now, um, there's Jay Duende. He's fucking dope. Um, a really dope artist is like MIQ the Burr Boy. If I could think of females artists that are really dope, there's Norma G, Montreal Ways. Who else? There's Slim, Gabby. Those are like the ones I mainly know. But there's none that like I know all their lyrics to, and like I'll definitely like support and vibe to it.
It's cool that you can answer that question with like a bunch of
Yeah,
names.
I know a lot of artists in the city. I'm very I'm always sharing people's shit, and I'm always showing support. And I remember when I first started doing this music shit again, I was constantly sharing everyone's shit. And I wanted to get an into the music scene and see how people are doing things. And not only was I genuinely enjoying the music I was discovering, but I was building relationships with people as I was sharing their shit, because you tag them and they start replying to you and you build a relationship, and then they're like, oh, who's Talia? No, 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 no. So I'm building relationships with people, I'm sharing their stuff, and I'm learning more about the community. So that's why I know a lot of the artists that I just named, but a lot of them I've literally genuinely like just discovered them on my own through like my own like hashtag lookup, or someone shared them in their stories. I'm like, oh, who's this?
Yeah, do you look up a lot of stuff at hashtags?
Yeah, sometimes depends what.
I don't know. I know it's a thing. I know that people do like reverse. I will look up the hashtag anyway. Fair enough. But no, it's really cool. It's like interesting how like on point you are with this like discovery phase of everything that you're jumping on.
I mean, I try. I studied a lot of it too, like I looked up a lot of this. Like I had no clue what I was doing. And then it was just like, how do you gain more traction to your Instagram? How do you get a viral video on TikTok? And then you just look up certain things and you type in hashtags on TikTok, and people are literally there telling you what you have to do. There's YouTube accounts of people literally like just sitting down, like doing some sort of like podcast setup, telling you what you have to do to build your Instagram, or to build your TikTok, or to build your Facebook page. You just have to find these videos and sit through them. They're boring. They're really boring. You don't want to watch two people talk about these things, but you need to if you really want to learn and expand your knowledge to these things.
That's the truth of it. I mean,
Bro, YouTube, there's a tutorial for everything.
there was not a tutorial for how to rap on beat on the internet for a minute.
Yeah, okay, let's get it out of the way. If you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. It's like that.
No, that's
And
facts.
some people have it, some people don't. And what's unfortunate is sometimes the ones that don't have it think they have it, and they go even harder than the ones who do.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That isn't literally what I was going for. I was talking about latency because I was trying to Google that and I had to figure out how to solve latency issues because of OBS and streaming, which is
Oh,
slightly
you can.
different. Figuring out how to fix that in early 2020 wasn't as easy as it is now. It took a while because I didn't know what to Google. If you don't know what to Google, Googling something is fucking miserable because you're using the
Bro,
wrong words.
said it. Go on YouTube. How to fix
I
latency
didn't
in
know.
OBS.
So at first, I didn't know what the word latency was. I know all the terms now. That took me 3 months. I had to
Okay.
learn a lot of shit. I watched a lot of boring OBS tutorials. I learned about clap tests. I learned about a whole bunch of shit. And then I wasn't sure how to route the sound. And then anyway, it's not as simple. Sometimes there was not always one thing. You need to find a lot of things to find your
Yeah,
solution to like the one
all
thing.
little pieces that come together.
But yeah, a lot of rappers be very persistent and end up doing a lot of the marketing shit right and sucking at rapping. And a lot of rappers be really good at rapping, and that's all they're really good at.
Pretty much.
Yo, is Talia your real name? Is a question we got.
So my real name is Karina Talia. So it's one name with a hyphen, and technically I have two first names. It's either Karina or Talia. And in school, I don't know why, but the hyphen made Talia come first. So my teachers would call me Talia Karina, but it was always Karina Talia. I don't know why they would do that, but
That's super interesting because I saw the Korean Italia and all of that. I was wondering why you ended up with Talia, but that makes a lot of sense then. And then somebody thought you were Jewish because it's apparently a Jewish name, and then they saw your profile and it was very Italian and it clicked. And then it wasn't
what?
even that. Yeah, no, that's I swear I had that conversation because like it came up and I'm like Talia. They're like she must be Jewish, and I'm like it's a Jewish name. I didn't know that, but
That's crazy. Talia is literally like Italia, but without the first I.
yeah, that wasn't apparent to me either at first because I'm not Italian and it's not where my brain goes with it. I I I mean it makes sense once you see it and then you're like okay I get it. That makes a lot of sense. Um, so as far as like the podcasting goes, what has that experience been like for you?
Honestly, the podcast is really lit. I've really enjoyed the experience up until now. There's some episodes where I'm like falling asleep because it's so early in the morning, and like most of the time, like I'm filming that podcast and then I have to go to work. So like I work a full-time job, then I go to the studio, then I have a podcast. So I'm like I'm tired when it comes to like being up early, and my work hours are like really fucked up, right? I do 3:30 to 11 o'clock at night, so I'm in bed by like 3 every fucking night, so I don't get much sleep. So to be up early and do the podcast, I'm like like sometimes I'm completely out of it, sometimes I'm running on coffee, but overall like it's a fun experience, so that's why I still wake up every time to do it, because I genuinely love meeting the new people. Like a lot of the times I'm interviewing people I know nothing about. Like Steve will send me like a quick like bio. Oh, this person does this, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then you just have to think on the fly, like, what do I ask this person? Like, what do I? So it's fun. It's like challenging me to be good at small talk because I was never good at small talk. And you know, a podcast is pretty much like constant back and forth small talk and like, oh, okay, so what? Oh, okay, so it helped me, it's challenging me, and it's a fun experience. Like I said, like who doesn't like meeting new people, and like everyone's always so happy and vibrant, and I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, and it's a really nice setup. I really like the whole studio and vibe of it. When it comes down to working with Tech and Steve, what's that like?
um I've known Steve for a long time, so I've known Steve for a really long time. It was even like back in my day when I was doing those shows when I was 17. I had met him around that time.
Right.
I've known him for a long time. We're never like close or anything, but like we would see each other at events, and he knew I made music. He worked with Adamo. I was close with Adamo. And Tech, I literally met him through the podcast. I didn't know Tech before the podcast. So working with Steve just felt like always, like I always worked with Steve, so I already caught a vibe with Steve. Working with Tech, however, with Steve, it's more professional. And then with Tech, it's more like we attack each other, like brother sibling vibes, where it's like, fuck you, no, fuck you, you know, like for like 5 episodes straight, Tech was like making up rumors about me that I was pregnant when I wasn't pregnant. So it's like, it's a fun vibe, you know, they're really cool and they're fun to work with. You know, Tech used to make rap music, Steve used to make rap music, so they tell me about their stories, and it's cool. We have like a group chat, we talk on the daily, so it's a good little vibe with them.
That's really dope. Ismail wants to know if you have any funny moments from the podcast you can share.
uh Oh, okay. Well, I'm not gonna tell you it's a funny moment, but I'm gonna tell you it really fucking sucked. So we went to shoot a podcast. So we do 2 shows in one day, so we have extra content to put out. So every podcast episode is around 45 minutes long. And last week, Tech couldn't come in. He wasn't feeling well. So we said, it's okay, cool. We'll do 2 shows without you. So we got this girl to come in. I don't remember her name. I feel so bad, but she was an actress. So we spent 45 minutes talking to her, getting to know her, asking amazing. The podcast went so well. It was such an amazing podcast. We were all talking. It was good back and forth. And then at the end of the podcast, we found out that the mics weren't recording any of the audio. So we had someone else waiting to be recorded, and we had her whole podcast, like the whole thing wasn't recording. So now we're like, shit, are we really gonna like redo this whole thing right now? Do we take the first guy? What do we do? You know, the other guy waiting. And he's like, I'm gonna ask her if she wants to do it again or if she wants to come back. And I'm like, oh my god, please come back. Like, please come back. I don't want to be stuck here for another 2 hours, because then we have to redo 45 minutes with her, another 45 minutes with him, and then the 50-minute setup between. And yeah, so she decided we were gonna redo it.
Yeah.
So we had to
moments.
And it's hard too to redo an interview when you just like asked all the questions, because then you're like, what do I ask? I don't like, it's so on the fly and so casual the first time, and then the second time it feels so like forced and fake. So I was really mad about it, because I was like, fuck, she should just come back and like give us some time to like forget about it so we can just start. But nope, we had to sit through a whole 45 minutes again talking about the things. And she was answering things, and we're like, wow, we didn't know that, you know, like we knew it because we just did it with her. And then we had the other guy come on, and he was like, I think he was on drugs. I'm not gonna lie. But that's coming out real soon in about 3 weeks. So you'll see it. Maybe you'll know who I'm talking about. But yeah, that was.
I'll send you a message.
Yeah, I'll let you know about, because when we finished, I was like, hey Steve, I have to go. And then I messaged Steve like a few hours later. I'm like, yo, what was that guy on? Like, he was on something.
Yeah, that's wild. Honestly, I could empathize heavily with the recording an entire episode of something and having it not work out. It's happened to me with album reviews, and then like I was doing it with my girlfriend and my dude, and it would be like, you're 3 people in a room, you spend 90 minutes or whatever it was, and you say all your shit, and it's fire, and it feels good.
It's authentic and real.
And then you're like, oh my god, I have to do this again. And my free time just got eaten up. And I'm not thrilled about that. And you have to fake it, because people like Ismail up in there, he'd be watching either way. And he was there back then watching those episodes where we would fucking have to fake that shit sometimes. And I'm certain we were terrible at faking it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because it doesn't come off as like real or authentic. Like, you could tell it's like, you know, and just like the whole energy and vibe about it's like off now, because you're like, fuck, man, I don't want to redo this.
Yeah, I know it feels it's rough. I get, and it's a big lesson, and then I guess that's the amateur shit that we do, and I don't mean it like your shit's not professional, but I mean it in the sense that we're like in it factually, without real network support and all those other roles that you don't see when you're watching TV, there to make sure that you as the performers don't forget all the shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's really cool what you guys are doing with it. I've enjoyed it. I think I have to watch one more, but I pretty much enjoyed all of them that I've seen.
I mean, there's some where I'm like, this is boring. I'm not gonna lie. There's some where I find like the person we brought on isn't talking loud enough, or they're mumbling, or they're not, like, you know, they're rambling on. So it's like, you're like, okay. And I've been like kind of getting like the urge to do something different on the podcast. I was like, yo, we have this huge studio to work with and we're sitting down at a table. Let's do some like fear pong, or let's do something different. Let's have people come on the show form. Like, so we've been talking on the low of what we want to do for the podcast. We want to switch it up a little. But they don't like my
Okay, so what's like a litty version of the podcast for you? What's like a highlight, like the highlight subjects?
Well, I mean, when we talk about music, so we don't always have artists on that are musicians. So we bring in like wrestlers, we bring in people that act, dancers, film videographers. So we bring in any type of hustler, right? But I preferably like it when it's, artists, because it's my niche. So I know how to go off on it. I like when producers come on and we could talk about like, you know, engineering things like mixing and all that. Like when they're talking about different softwares they use, like, oh, I use Logic. Oh, okay, I use Fruity Loops, or I use, I like talking about that because that's my niche. That's what I know what to talk about. But when an actor comes on, I'm like, so have you met Ryan Reynolds yet? Like, I don't know where to go off on it. So music is really my niche.
Yeah, I feel that a little bit. There was one actor lady that came on, like somewhere like episode 10 or something, and I had nothing to comment in the comment section because I was just like, well, that's informative for about 35 minutes. And I'm like, I watched it. I just didn't know what to say in response to any of it.
Imagine you're watching it and you don't know what to say. I'm there and I don't know what to say sometimes. But thank God it's like we're 3 people hosting the show, because like if it was just one-on-one, some of these episodes would be so boring.
Honestly, I think you would pull it off. Y'all would just like figure it out, and you would just have a couple moments. Like I'm certain there's moments here and there, but like usually you just figure it out, and he just stays and rolls.
I mean, if I was in charge of this channel on YouTube, the Hustle Podcast, I wouldn't have gone that route. If I had like the cameras and like the microphones and all the setup that they got, I would have gone a completely different route. I mean, the podcast is like the initial part of it, but I would do like segments, right? So you would have like the tech segment or the Talia segment, the Steve segment. So we all talk about or do something related to our niche, where like the Talia segment is I'm reviewing artists' music, and then there's the tech segment where he's, I don't know, radio show host shit. I don't know what he does. Radio show.
It's
And then
funny.
there's like the Steve segment, like have little episodes other than just podcast sitting down at a table, because it gets repetitive and boring, And I've been trying to like steer them that way, like, yo, let's bake something for fuck's sake. So let's do an episode where we're baking shit and getting baked. Like, I don't know, like let's do something different. Think outside the box.
Yeah,
We have
that's
all
a whole show though. Getting baked while baking.
Yeah, me and my girl were thinking about doing that. We want to get GoPros. We want to get GoPros, get fucking baked, and we're gonna call what did we say? Baked, getting baked while baking, and then there was like a slogan. There was the perfect slogan, and I don't remember what we had said.
Getting baked while slogan making.
Everything's baked. That was the slogan. Everything's baked.
That's pretty good. Yeah, but that kind of shit's wildly cool.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot about segments recently and how powerful they can be depending on like I guess what you're going for with it, like especially YouTube. YouTube seems to like a lot of that shit.
Yeah, like I binge watch on YouTube. Okay, so I watched like one channel specifically is called The Cut. And basically like what they do is they do lineup segments. So they line up people in a room and they have one person in the middle of the room and you have to guess, like for example, whose outfit does this belong to? And then she has to give the outfits to people. Or like who's gay, who's not gay? And then she has to guess who's gay. And it's like who's a virgin, who's not a virgin, and they have to guess who's. So it's like segments where they do that. And then they have other segments where they play fear pong. So they play beer pong and they have to like do theirs in between. Or they have other segments where they're sitting at a table and they're taking shots and they're doing like do or drink. And these different segments are good in the sense that, like, one, you have a lot more to show to your audience, but you also have a lot more for them to pick. So if you're the type of person that goes on YouTube to watch podcasts, you're going to want to watch all the podcast segments. But if you're the type of person to go on YouTube to watch people doing dumb shit with their friends, you're going to want to watch the dumb shit with your friends segments. So if you have 3 cameras that you film a podcast with, and you have a giant studio with mad room to do whatever your mind could think of, why are you going to settle on just doing the podcast all the time? Why not think outside the box? Create a different, category for different people in the audience.
Yo, that's a lot to think about. Because the podcast is cool, but the variety show element's also cool. Like, as you were saying that, my brain's going like, yo, where is the English hip-hop Montreal variety show, weird show shit? Like the Pie in the Face show.
Hey, bro. Like, what if we did like a segment where we bring on 3 rappers from Montreal and they have to do like a freestyle battle, and whoever sucks gets a pie to the face. Okay, next, it's down to the final 2. The other one, pie to the face.
Fuck
like,
me.
stupid shit is entertaining that people want to watch. This was just a dumb idea on the fly. But if we really like took the time, sat down, we're 4 heads. It's me, Tech, Steve, and Lambros. If we sat down and really brainstormed ideas, we can like take this to a whole other level.
Yo, this sounds so nifty as fuck, though. I mean, I could see the conflict of interest in like the potential branding of like what they're going for with the Hustle podcast, all things considered. Like, I really fucks with this show. Like, I am 100% this demo that is like, yo, say word, hold on, do that, but don't also take away what you guys do, because I really like that.
Yeah, never. But the thing is, like, I feel like this is where our age gap comes into play, right? Because they're
Facts.
older.
I'm Tech's age, so I get it.
Yeah, and like the age gap makes a huge difference, because what they're watching compared to what my generation's watching is not the same thing. And they're very headstrong on like, no, Talia, I don't like that idea. No, Talia, I don't like that idea. But I'm like, bro, listen to me. I know what's popping off right now. I know what people want to watch. And it's like the podcast itself will remain the podcast itself. We will always do the podcast. That's the main point of the show. But hear me out when I say, let's try a different segment. Let's give Tech his own segment. Let's give me my own segment. Let's give Steve his own segment. Try it out. See what's going to pop off. And you're going to see, you're going to get different numbers per segment, because there's a different niche per audience member, right? So like, we all have our niches. Not everyone wants to watch a podcast, but like you like to watch podcasts. I personally do not sit through podcasts. I host it. I don't listen to them.
I mean, I'm biased though, and we gotta throw that out there. Look what I do. It's like selfish interest to like A, watch Montreal shit, and B, like, how are other people podcasting? Like, so I don't know if I'm like the fairest person to like even compare against, because I don't even watch the shit 100% for fun. I just kind of like it because I find it interesting. Like the Jonathan Emile episode was fucking amazing to me. It was like, oh, say word, that guy is really cool, and I didn't know that.
Oh my god, was it that episode I almost cried? There was one episode where I almost cried. I think, it was with what was his name? Jesse Bell or something? Jordan Bell? Oh my god, I almost cried on that episode.
So like, I mean, there's a lot of power in the format for storytelling when it's like litty. But at the other end of it, I realized, like, I think you're right because of what I do, right? Like, I really do a lot of this long-form content, and it's not lost on me how not litty it is for a lot of people's lives. Like, hell, even I'm trying to keep up with 2 fucking Montreal podcasts, and I'm dying every week just to watch 2 episodes that are like an hour long each week. So it's like,
yeah.
I kind of feel what you're saying. I mean, I'm fucking around with something else, and we're fucking around with some variety show bullshit. So like, it's like in my mind already to think like in this segment run. Plus for like TikTok and shit, like you could almost like with the studio create like almost TikTok short series is to
Yeah,
complement
we
it.
could do so much, so much. Wait, just give me a second. I have to answer someone. Sorry about that. So unprofessional.
Nah, this is why Twitch is fun. Is because it has a vibe and it has like a whole thing. And believe it or not, like people do like this. But I think more people would watch this if what you were proposing existed actually. Like this, the deep dive, this, the like, and it needs to exist in my opinion. But like it also like yo, I would take a pie in the face. Is all I'm saying. Like I never had the option to take the pie in the face.
You know, and then like the winner gets some free gears, free merch, you know, like,
Or
and
or
there's
like
so many ways we can go around it and like brainstorm ideas. And it's like we're not doing it. And I'm like, yo, like we're a team, we're a group, we're not just one mind behind it, we're like four. Like we could do so much with the podcast, and we haven't gotten there yet, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, and I'm gonna keep pushing for it because I really think we could do something crazy with the podcast that will, you know, generate a lot more views than what we're already getting. Like we're doing pretty good for a startup. Like,
yeah, you guys are doing pretty fucking good. I'm not even gonna lie.
so just already like the podcast alone is doing pretty good. But if we started bringing in different elements and segments, and like, you know, people are like, oh, okay, what's going on here? This is different than what they always do. Because now people know every Wednesday, 7 p.m., a podcast is being uploaded. But now if we're like, okay, every Monday at 6 p.m., we have a segment coming out. Now they're like, oh shit, there's something to watch on Monday too. What's this? You know, it's just to grind people's gears a little, get them like, you know, what the fuck? What's going on? Like,
Yo,
let's give
I
me more.
completely with you. To be honest, I love the way you think about this. This is partly why I was super excited to talk to you. Is because I'm like, yo, Talia up to date on some fucking modern trend shit, and like to me that's exciting. Like, I love this shit. To me, this is highly entertaining as content. I know it's not the most marketable content, but it kind of is in the world where a lot of us are bad at it. Or at least it's not like inherent. Like I have to do some real thinking to get to some shit you're going to find like second nature. And it's like at this phase of my life, it's fucking easy to just admit it, but it took a minute to be a little easier to accept that I'm bad at it now. But like with that, it's like what you're proposing just for the scene. Like I've been trying to figure out how to make people listen to us. Like there's 500,000 anglophones in the fucking general area. That's way too many people for the excuses I hear for like the scene to not exist, right? Like forget the obstacles and shit. And then something Merker Miyagi, who was just on your show,
Mm-hmm.
has been saying to me, like we've had basically a back and forth DM battle all year where his main point is people are boring. And
So yeah,
I'm like, that's fair, and I agree. But like, maybe people could be more like forgiving and help get the ball rolling. And he's like, nah, it's not people's responsibility. All artists are like, whatever. And I'm like, what about our peers? He's like, even your peers, people are boring. What you're proposing is not very boring to me. I'm like, as a show, I'm not gonna lie. I'd be with like a game show of sorts because that shit really was going on in New York. Like they really did have that shit going on in this era that everyone glorifies, and efforts like that were happening and things was popping off. So it's like if we're really trying to copy that, which a lot of them might want to be doing, copy it fully with the segment shows, which is the thing that was hot in the '90s. Let's be real.
I mean, I mean, the thing that really makes people stand out is authenticity and being raw. So I wouldn't want to like copy what someone else is doing. I'd really want to like sit down, brainstorm, think of something new, something different, something people have not seen yet. Because that's when people are like, "Oh, what's this?" If you're like, "Okay, well, we're gonna do a rap battle and like loser gets $50,000," let's say. Like, there's so many shows like that. There's like so many platforms for you to see that. Little stupid things that's different people don't see every day, you know, like get like, or even take it to a whole other extreme, like get rappers to come out and paint. Do something different, like okay, you guys are gonna do a painting contest, or like, you know, like do like a whole little segment of like at the end of this you win, you know, free gear, free this, and it's like they don't know how to fucking draw. It's gonna be fucking horrible, but it's gonna be fucking hilarious to watch, you know?
And then you'd find out who can fucking draw too, because you'd have people who can draw, like really can.
Yeah, you know, like just like we're called the hustle, right? We could even get like all the artists or all the people that we had on the show come out and do games that like fall back on everyone's niche, right? So we had actors come on. We could do one where it's like you guys have to play charades, you know? And like this is not just the actors playing charades, it's the rappers, the
Oh, I'm
videographers,
sitting
the
here going, oh shit, I'm included in that. I would have to play
yeah, you're
charades.
included in that, you know? You come out, you have to play games or something that is like involved in everyone's hustle in one way. So you get the actors to have to do a freestyle battle,
That'd be wild. I'd be
you
highly
know?
entertained by this whole. And then you have so many people that end up meeting each other at your event,
Yeah, that
where
it's like
your
it's not
brand gets known as
it's
a catalyst or something.
yeah, and then everyone's getting everyone's Instagram networking. It's perfect. And it builds a hype around us because everyone that was on our show is back together and everyone's posting about it at the same time. So it's building such a hype. You're giving Instagram or wherever you're going to post this another like algorithm, because algorithm goes off of like how many people are tagging you on something, how many people are liking your shit, how many people are commenting. That can boost the show as well, or boost our social media profiles or platforms. But no one wants to hear me.
No, I want to hear you. This is wildly interesting. I'm like taking notes in my head. I'm like not necessarily gonna do all of that, but I'm like I'm gonna be highly inspired by all of that because I'm like, yo, what you're describing is like, because I'm at a what do you do next? How do you make? Because for me, the issue isn't quality of product; it's traffic acquisition, where
Yeah.
it's not my strongest suit. I'm not gonna lie. So like hearing you describe all this, I'm like, oh, say word. This is some really helpful context that would be like more appealing in a sense, like even like the fucking 5 second thing with the videos on Instagram and shit. Like, I don't try fucking hard. I really don't. And it's like, I should. Because it's like Instagram. And it's stupid to act like Instagram is everything else on the fucking internet. You know, and I think like we get comfortable with stuff and it's not fun to adapt to it. But everything you're spitting is like really hard facts in my opinion. Like you've had excellent knowledge nugget after excellent knowledge nugget here. You're like marketing game be like A fucking plus, yo.
My marketing game is A plus, but I just don't have like the right contacts to get my shit to blow up. Cause like I made my own like press kit and all that shit, and I am a visionary, right? I'm very visual, and I know all the proper steps to really get a song to blow up. So what you would have to do before a release is like write a press release or a press kit and send it out to blogs and blogs and make them talk about you, because then when you want to send your music to like Spotify playlists, when they Google your name, they're going to see, okay, this one's talking about her, this one's talking about her, this one's talking about her, and they're going to see a relevance to your music and they're going to put you on their playlists. And I know all these marketing details. I just don't know where to find these vlogs, where to find these blogs, who to contact, who to get, you know, a hold of.
Mm.
So it's like I do all this research on how to make myself expand and grow. I just don't have all the contacts. So
Yeah.
I've always wanted to like, this is like completely off track there. I'm going a whole other route with this, but I've always wanted to build an artist from the ground up. I wanted to like find someone with talent, but who doesn't know how to write. And like a singer, for example, let's find a female singer. She's young. She's 8. She just turned 18, or she even younger than that, 16, a 16-year-old prodigy. Take over her social medias, get her perfect content, get her in the studio, write songs for her to record, put it out, still trying to find these blogs to talk about her, but you know, build an artist up from the ground up and see how my marketing that I've been using on myself would work for someone else. Because, you know, some people will genuinely not share your shit or genuinely show support because it's you, just because of who you are. And
Yep. Big facts.
there's a lot of people that have more hype than me, but aren't even, like, not to toot my own horn, but at my level. And the reason for it is because they they know a lot of people, and a lot of people respect them, and they show fake love to their music or their content. Whereas people don't like someone like myself who will speak out and call people out on their bullshit and will be like as real as I am on the gram. I'm so vulnerable on my platforms where I speak my truth. You hear what I have to say, it is what it is. And people don't want to support that or show me love. Just because, probably because I'm not even vaccinated, I've lost a lot of fucking followers.
I I've seen some of your posts and been like, I can see how this is gonna enrage some people. But back to it, it's the other hand, my job security isn't threatened by this issue, so I don't suppose that my feelings matter versus your reality is where I resolve myself seeing things like that. I'm like, I have to remember sometimes I'd be in a really privileged position to have opinions when my life isn't impacted by an issue. Whereas
Yeah.
in your case, if I'm not mistaken, it's a real issue that affects you in a more direct way. So it's like, even if it's just the act of protest, that's like you're right and shit, no?
Yeah. Right. This It's just all a fucked up situation.
It is. It is wildly. Well, now that I've
I
thought
feel
about
like,
live events and promoting and how I would actually navigate that fucking environment, and considering, like, okay, like the reality is if I throw a show, I'd have to. How do I vet my unvaxxed and vaxxed people? And the one thing I can say is the artist community, a lot of people I know aren't vaxxed, which is not like, it's not like a pro or a negative, it's just a reality. And I say that like because it's weird. It's going to create like some strange ass privilege shit. And it's like, I'm paranoid about that kind of stuff. So I just project some like really eerie shit that's going to force a lot of people to get vaxxed on some like, if you really want it, you have no choice. Like effectively, I knew I had to go to New York like this year. There wasn't a choice. I couldn't afford the 2 week quarantine period. At the time,
yeah,
that's what it was. So it was like, well, I'm not rich enough to resist this. I am going to comply. And then I just did the shit early, right? Like,
that's what, like, you know, that's what I hate the most about all of this is that they say it's a choice, but it's not. I'm sorry, it is not a choice. It is a ultimatum. If you don't take it, this is what happens. And the thing that has taken the biggest toll on my mental health throughout all of this is seeing the people at my work. Now, look, I am so lucky I am in the position I am where, like, if I don't take the vaccine and I lose my job, I'll be okay. But then there's people at my work who did not want it and they felt like they had no choice. These are people that have years of seniority built up, people that have mortgages, families they need to provide for, cars, student loans. They can't just lose their job or be suspended with no pay. So when they're telling me that they really, really don't want the vaccine, but they have no choice to take it, and you see the looks on their faces, and like they're just, it's not a nice feeling. They're eerie, they're uncomfortable. That's what took the biggest toll on my mental health throughout all this. And that's why I've been so vocal and like not afraid to express my opinion, because it's not an okay situation. Like, it's not okay to make people feel like they need to have this to live their lives. They need to have this to work their jobs. That's not okay. Like, it's an ultimatum. You do not get to live your life freely anymore if you don't have this vaccine. And like, I don't even want to go off on the topic of the
no, I
vaccine,
hear you.
like, I don't even want to go off on it, but it's just like the like have to be careful with what I say. I don't want to say like the wrong thing, especially because it's such a political topic.
You've been hella
Like
delicately good so far.
it's just like morally incorrect in my opinion, and it's fucking sad. Like it's really sad, and I've seen so many people like cry over this, and like see so many people like come to me looking for answers because I've done my own research. Look, I'm not saying my research is correct. I'm not saying I always share real shit, but what I find is what I find, and if I post it because I think it's interesting, I post it because I think it's interesting. Do I fact check it? No, I don't. So it could be wrong. I can admit to that openly. But a good portion of my findings are realistic and make a lot of fucking sense. So when I express these things to the people at my work that didn't want the vaccine, like they always felt like this sense of like comfortability, like talking to me about it because they know that like I'm looking into things. I'm trying to find solutions. I'm trying to find resolutions. How can we avoid all this? And when they said like October 15th is your last day, if you're not, I had like this one coworker, his name's Mike, and he was so against it, like so against it. And I remember him coming up to me and he's like, "What do we do? Like, I'm gonna lose my job." And I'm like, Mike, like this is the first time you come up to me, and I literally have like nothing, no answer to give you. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. There's nothing we could do. And like his face was so like he looked like he was about to cry. He was getting all red, and like eventually he had to give in and get the fucking vaccine.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of what it is. Like, I don't hear a lot of people describe this stuff. So, like, hearing your perspective, it's not even about if I agree with you or not. It's still, like, a reality that a lot of people face that I don't think a lot of people in my work from home life think about, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I think it's super valid perspectives. I like your candidness about your lack of research or whatever. Like, that's really
Yeah.
cool the way you
I have to
presented
be
it.
real. There's so much false information on the internet. Like some of what I'm sharing could be true and some of it could be false. And just how it goes vice versa. The problem with this is that you can find information to back up both sides of the argument.
Yeah, it's like one of those situations. I do a lot of stuff in my life that has me looking at stats and data. So I just think a lot about stats and if the stats make sense to me when I hear stuff. So I came to my own conclusions where I'm like, I'm more likely to die from a lot of other things than this vaccination. And pragmatically, this makes the sense to me. Because, like, I don't know, nominally numbers look away, percentage wise numbers look a mad different way. And so I like to run the percentages. Like sometimes I'll see some shit like if X number of people feel this way, how do you feel? And then I Google the total population of that profession and I like, yo, if that many percentage of people felt that way about anything, often the answer is, well, more people hate me than that in life. So I'm pretty sure like I don't care. I don't care
Yeah.
that much. So it's like but also like I understand it. Like how many people sat there and looked at Google Analytics Academy shit for work, and you got kind of like incentivized to go do that. I'm sure most people ain't be sitting there learning that because they're supposed like because it's your job. Like it's not everyone's job, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people get like mad unaware of like the data literacy rates of people. And then like you look at the media, right? And it's completely fair to be like the media spins everything with language, and then people watch a lot of charismatic people spin stories. Half these YouTube videos have very charming people saying whatever. It's like it's super weird,
It's a
honestly.
double-edged sword, honestly. It's like there's no meeting point. There's no it's fucked up.
And it's been a honestly complicated time, especially like, and it's like it's unfortunate that it's a topic. It just kind of is like the future of music. You think about it and you're like, I don't know what the fuck happens next actually. Internet maybe, and then you're like, I don't know, it gets weird. But
Yeah.
I have to say your marketing mind is still really ridiculous, and your ability to pull things off is super impressive too, and your ideas are like really next level. Like you got some shit going for you.
Thanks, man.
And your music's good. I mean,
It's not-
nah, it's pretty solid. It's versatile. I mean, I feel like I get where you're coming from with music, and it's cool. Like you really have like a voice, and I like that, like an energy to it that's cohesive, whatever. It sticks across your shit. Not the right word. Anyhow, all I have to say is it's cool. It's been cool to talk to you. I'm not 1,000% sure what else to still ask you. I feel like at this point, like you've really expressed a lot of who you are, and yo, you definitely have some fucking ridiculously interesting ideas, and your brain is like a gold fucking mine for real. Like anybody that gets to talk to you about marketing, if they're listening to this, they should pay attention, even if it's not on that brand. Spin-offs, just spin-offs. Like it's so easy. It doesn't have to be the same name, you know.
Just say a little something to Steve, you know? Give me a little. Well,
I don't know. I mean, I
hear
barely
her
know
out, man.
him. I barely know the guy. I interviewed him November of last. I interviewed him about 11 months ago. I was like, "You're making a movie, and people I know are in it. Let's talk." And then I met Tech Luciano like once in real life prior to the time I met him in real life again at the Hustle podcast taping. I've seen him in real life twice. So it's like, I don't really know them. I just, I'm happy to message Tech about shit because
Yeah, it's
whatever.
probably like mutual and stuff. Well,
But
anyway, I have to head
no, for
out.
sure.
Coming to pick me up. I really, really enjoyed being on here. Thank you for having me on. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Appreciate
yeah,
appreciate you coming through. All your links and shit are gonna be in the description, so people can go follow that. And make sure and appreciate all of you who stuck around and watched it in the live. Honestly, it's really great when people do that and interact a bit. Thank y'all for watching it in the future. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good YouTube and etc. shit. It was super great to have you here, Talia. Appreciate you a lot. And yo, live long and prosper, everybody out there.
respect.